I've been an artist working in Brick Lane since 1999. The crazy plethora of sounds, smells, council blocks and peoples makes the area totally enticing and inspiring. During this time, the area's undergone phenomenal change, but it's the ghetto glamour that makes it cool. The Vibe Bar was one of the first places to open on Brick Lane when the East was derisively dismissed as a cultural wasteland.
It was 1996 that I first came here, and it was my great pleasure to meet with Alan Miller and Lee Dicker, who'd very courageously been drafted in to open the Vibe Bar and to help with the curation of the brewery, which resulted in all kind of dot-com companies, model agencies, food companies, amazing 32 recording studios. Everybody was here. It was just like the place. But they were mocked, they were derided by not just the media, but also by their friends. We've never been elitist at all. We've always been there to encourage new talent and to nurture new talent, and that's us, you know, that's what we've always done.
Since then, some of the coolest boutiques and galleries have opened on Brick Lane. Diego, here we are at the Lazy Ones. I'm actually wearing a Lazy Ones outfit. Can you tell me about this piece?
Well, it's a vintage piece, so that's how we started. At the beginning, we saw in the area lots of other shops selling vintage, and we thought it will appeal, but what we wanted to have is as well an arty side.
Now they've struck a deal with Topshop, and the likes of Pete Doherty and Gabriel Garcia Bernal have even been in.
It's never as flashy as it sounds. You know, you never expect anybody famous to come, so when they pop into the doors, it's just, you know, it's even awkward because you cannot just tell them like, yeah, I love your work, or oh, you're really rubbish, I hate you, you know. You just act normal, and if they buy, you know.
There's no shortage of the rich and famous clamouring to come to Brick Lane. Prince had his after party at Shoreditch House. Madonna's dined at Le Trois Garçons. And I've even seen Moby DJ at T-Bar. The question is, has all this development benefited the local economy? It seems that the social juxtapositions where people coexist but don't really interact are growing more entrenched. Nowhere is this more evident than with the rise of gated communities. Bath House was one of the first conversion developments in the area.
Hi, how's it going?
We did say it was a bit them and us when we arrived. I mean, it's not intentional to buy a gated community. It was the idea was just to buy. It was a nice place to live, so that's how we ended up here. We're economic migrants being driven away from Spitalfields by the rich artists moving in there. It's the sort of Tracy Emin's and the Gilbert Georges that have in part driven the prices up. You exist in the sort of frames of reference that you know, and you obviously don't get to know every single person that lives in your square mile. Well, and if people live a totally different life to you, just because they're on the same street, it means you don't necessarily mix with them.
We're surrounded by Bengalis. Do you know many?
No. In terms of the ones we know that run local businesses, we know, but not as friends.
So really,
You're the only person.
Yeah.
Spitalfields has been totally revamped with brand new offices and shops, with property prices going through the roof.
I think the area is still developing. The area has an awful lot to offer. You've got the Olympics coming in, you've got the Crossrail, Bishopsgate Yard. You know, the city's flooded over into Spitalfields and, you know, coming up to Brick Lane.
There's a new development on Cheshire Street, which is my street, and they've all been sold from plan. Who's bought all these flats?
You've got at least 40% of them are buy-to-let and 60% of them are actually owner-occupiers. A mixture of age groups as well. Some of them are sold overseas. The council blocks are actually going to be improved, and they have done in the last 5 or 6 years. There are some really, you know, awful blocks 2 years ago that I would say, you know, my God, I can't sell this now. And they've turned it around. There's an awful lot of grant money coming into Tower Hamlets, and it's improving, and the prices are horrendous.
So basically, you think development is a positive thing. Do you think it will bridge the divide or increase divisions?
I think it will bridge, and I think it will get better and easier, and it will happen so naturally that you know, we won't even notice the change. It will just happen.
But some of the locals are not so optimistic, and it's the young Somalis and Bengalis who feel particularly marginalised.
There's not enough help given to people who live in council flats like mine, and it's like damp and you know, and you see like new buildings, like new houses being built up, and just, I don't feel jealous, but I feel like, you know, poor.
Christchurch is one of the few places around Brick Lane for young Somalis and Bengalis to come and hang out.
I live on a alleyway, and people are usually urinating or having fights, so it's not nice.
And that's because of all the bars?
And all the bars and yeah.
Overnight, this club has opened on their doorstep.
What do you think about this club opposite? This public toilet club?
Oh, that's the source of the urination on my doorstep.
How do you feel about there being a club outside your youth centre?
I think it's outrageous because young people, you know, even little kids come here, and if they see some people like that, they might get scared and not even come here, and it's like a bad influence towards people my age.
All this money's flowing into the east, but does any consultation take place with the locals?
Nobody even bothered to come to us to take our opinion. It's like the developer, they have their money and they can develop whatever they want to do.
Despite all the millions flooding into the east, Christchurch is facing a financial struggle to stay open.
How would you feel if Christchurch closed down?
I feel devastated because like, it's part of the community, and I've been coming here for a good couple of years now, and it's kind of, I feel like I've grown up here, so if they do shut it down, I'll burst into tears. And
if it's closed down, certainly me and the younger lots or other people will have nowhere to go.
How important is Christchurch for the Bengali and Somali youth community?
It's very, very important, but the problem is the morale of the workforce and the numbers in the workforce are decreasing.
Do you think the divisions between the haves and the have-nots, and we've been to kids' houses around Brick Lane, do you think those divisions are going to increase?
Well, of course they are. I mean, some people are saying that Brick Lane is becoming the new Soho, and on Thursdays, Fridays, Saturdays and Sundays, it's like Piccadilly Circus here.
Do they feel, well, right, all this is going on, but we don't have much of a say?
Yeah, I mean, I feel powerless myself, and they must feel it much more acutely. And what we've tried to do here is set up a youth forum where the older young people are helping the younger ones, and also to get involved with the campaign to keep this place open.
In a few months, Christchurch will know its fate.
The question is, will rampant development increase the social divide or bridge the gap? I personally think that in the long term it will increase divisions as the haves cash in and the have-nots look on.